Righto, Year 11s. We're going to look into a quick revision on the whole idea of fractions and decimals. Okay, now this is 100% stuff that you have seen before, but there's about 5 different skills that you're going to need this term for the exam. So I'm just going to quickly run through them. Alrighty, so first of all, you've got just creating this. So working out this number, crunching it. So you've got 7 over 11 times 78, or 14 over 50 times 2050. Okay, so look, it just doesn't matter what the numbers are. Same procedure every time. Okay, you get the top number, and you multiply it, and then you divide. Okay, multiply the top, divide the bottom. All right, so I've got 7 times 78 divided by 11, and that gives me 49.636. That'll do. This one here, I've got 14 times 2050 divided by 50. That's 574. Neat. All right, so you're going to definitely have to be able to do that. Finding a fraction of a chunk, a number. It won't always be a whole number, but yeah. Again, I don't care what the numbers are. Multiply the top, divide the bottom. All right. Moving on. Okay, so what if it's not expressed, like it was before, but what if it said, well, I've got 16 out of 54. So this is like the big group, okay, or the whole group. Maybe there's 52 things in it. 16 of them are defective, for instance. Okay, so what is that as a decimal fraction? If I'm getting 16 out of 52, well, it's simply 16 over 52. All right, and it's top divided by bottom. Okay, so that's as a regular fraction. Now let's get it as a decimal fraction. So 16 divided by 52 is 0.3076. There you go, that'll do. Okay, so that's what that means is it's 16 on the top, 52 on the bottom. Same idea, 38 out of 110, 38 on the top, 110 on the bottom. So 38 divided by 110, it's 0.345, that'll do. Okay. You've got to know how to do that, how to get a statement like that. Like maybe you've got 52 people in the workspace and 16 of them are away today. Okay, or maybe we've got 110 clients, 38 of them are behind on their payments. Okay, that's how it works. And you can get that to a percentage if you really wanted to, but let's just talking about decimal fractions there. Okay, once you've got a decimal fraction, you are going to have to work on rounding it. Okay, so the questions will talk about rounding to a particular place value. So if I had 6.358 and I need to round it to 1 decimal place. All right, so this is what you do. You draw a line there, okay? So I'm going to cut this off there. I'm only going to have 1 decimal place. But I need to make a decision about what I do with this number here. Do I bump it up to 4 or do I leave it as 3? To make that decision, I look over here. Here's the rules. If this number here is 5 or above, then this one goes up 1. If it's below 5, then that stays the same. Okay, that's called rounding down. Rounding up is I make it to 6.4. Rounding down is I leave it at 6.3. Now, because that is a 5, I have to round up. So that is 6.4. Okay. What if I've got to round to 2 decimal places? Well, there's 2 there. I draw the line there. So I'm going to have 2 numbers here and I'm going to cut everything off after that. But I need to make a decision based on this number here. What do I do with that one? So same rule. If it's below 5, I round down. So in other words, I don't change that 2. So that is 3.52. What if I got it to a whole number? Well, that means there's no decimal places. So I'm going to cut it there. So I need to make a decision. What do I do about that? Do I round up or do I round down? Now, where you need this in particular is if you've got to estimate, how many customers are affected, and if it comes up as 28.6, well, you can't have 0.6 of a customer. You've got to round it to a whole number. So in this case, it would round up because that is 5 or above. Okay, it's in that zone of rounding up. So you're always looking at the next number over. Okay, so this will become 29. Okay, so that's rounding. Lastly, once we have a fraction and we need to make a judgment about it, which one's closest to 0.3, for example. Okay, so well, let's, is this one or this one? Which one is closest to 0.3? Well, let's get them to decimals. Okay, so 5 divided by 17, that's what that means there, is 0.294. 18 out of 64, that's 18 over 64. 18 divided by 64, that's 0.281. All right, now you can see very clearly this one is closest to 0.3 than this one. So that is the one that's closest. Okay, so that's the basic skills that you're going to need. Pretty straightforward, but it's worthwhile practicing.